He thought he was rescuing just another dying soldier. He did not know he was stepping into a war older than his species. And he definitely did not expect her to wake up, look him in the eyes, and whisper, "You just saved the Queen." The salvage ship Rustwind drifted through the shattered remains of a battlefield that no one officially admitted had happened. Broken alien cruisers floated like metal skeletons beneath the faint red glow of a distant star. Human command had already written the region off as strategically irrelevant. To Jace Halden, nothing in space was irrelevant if it could be stripped for parts. Jace was not a hero. He was a former engineering officer who had decided that scavenging dead war zones paid better than following orders from admirals who treated lives like numbers. His ship was small, patched together from 5 different fleets and at least 2 alien hull designs. It rattled when it accelerated and complained when it braked. "Radiation level stable," said Aura, his ship's AI. "Wreck cluster ahead. Multiple life signs. Correction. 1 life sign." Jace leaned forward in his chair. "1. In that mess. Faint but active. Species unknown." He exhaled slowly. Unknown usually meant trouble. But trouble sometimes meant reward. The derelict cruiser was not human. Its surface curved like polished bone, elegant and organic. Deep scars cut across its side where something powerful had torn through it. No distress signal. No patrol beacons. Dead and forgotten. Jace suited up and launched across the gap. Inside, gravity barely worked. The corridors were silent. No floating corpses. No signs of decompression. It was as if the crew had simply vanished. "Life sign below you," Aura guided. He forced open a sealed hatch and dropped into a lower chamber. That was when he saw her. A single armored figure lay against a cracked command pillar. The armor was sleek, silver-white, shaped for speed and precision. Not bulky like human marine gear. It looked alive, as if it was breathing with her. Her helmet was shattered on one side. Pale skin. Sharp features. Long ears curved slightly back. Not human. Not anything he had seen before. Blaster burns marked the walls around her. She had fought here. Hard. Jace knelt beside her carefully. "Easy," he muttered. "You're not dying today." Her pulse was weak but steady. Aura. Biology partially compatible with human med systems. Survival probability, 22% without intervention. 63% with immediate extraction. Jace hesitated for only a second. He lifted her. She was heavier than she looked. The armor shifted slightly under his hands, adjusting around the damage. As he carried her back to the airlock, the cruiser groaned softly, like it was unhappy he was taking her. "Leaving the scene with alien royalty-level tech," Aura observed. "You continue to make questionable life choices." "Story of my life," Jace replied. Back aboard the Rustwind, he laid her on the medical platform. The scanner flickered in confusion. Species unidentified. Genetic markers complex. Neural density exceeds human average by 34%. Muscular structure optimized for acceleration. This individual was engineered or highly evolved for combat. "So she's a soldier," Jace said quietly. He worked fast, sealing wounds, stabilizing blood flow. Her blood shimmered faintly blue under the light. Hours passed. The Rustwind drifted deeper into debris. Then her eyes opened. Black. Not empty black. Deep black. Like space before stars were born. She did not panic. Did not gasp. She assessed. "Location," she said, her voice calm but strained. "My ship," Jace answered. "You were dying. I fixed that." Her gaze moved across the room, taking in every detail. Calculating. "You are human. Last I checked." She slowly tried to sit up. The armor tightened around her torso. "You should not have intervened." Jace raised an eyebrow. "You're welcome." Her eyes locked onto his. "Those who hunt me will not stop. They will trace my escape. They will trace you." He leaned back in his chair. "Yeah. I've had worse. For a moment, something almost like confusion flickered in her expression. You do not understand, she said. The Dominion fleets do not forgive interference. Well, Jace shrugged lightly, that sounds like a them problem. Aura interrupted. Alert. Long-range scans detect microwarp distortions. Multiple signatures. They are not human. The alien woman closed her eyes briefly. They have found me. Jace looked at the scanner. 3 ships dropping from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Larger than his. Armed heavily. Friends of yours? He asked. No. Silence filled the bridge. Jace studied her again. You some kind of special forces? She hesitated. Yes. That was not the full truth. He could see it in her posture. The enemy ships accelerated. Aura spoke calmly. Projected intercept in 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Jace stood up and cracked his neck. All right, he said. You can either tell me the full story now, or you can help me rig a trap. She looked at him carefully. You would fight them. He gave her a sideways grin. I don't like bullies. For the first time, something changed in her expression. Not amusement. Respect. He rerouted power from life support to engines. Dumped debris charges from the cargo bay. Calculated asteroid trajectories. The alien ships moved with terrifying coordination. Sharp, predatory shapes. Designed for domination. They will attempt to disable, she said. Then board. Good, Jace replied. Let them try. He boosted the Rustwind straight into the densest part of the wreck field. Missiles streaked behind them. At the last second, Jace triggered his cargo release. Dozens of salvaged reactor cores detonated in a chain reaction. The battlefield lit up like a newborn star. Asteroids shifted. Wreckage spun violently. One Dominion ship slammed into debris. Another lost shields. The third fired wildly. Jace dove through collapsing wreckage with precision that no official human simulator had ever taught. That maneuver was reckless, Aura commented. It worked, Jace replied. The damaged Dominion ships pulled back, regrouping. They had expected a scavenger. They had encountered a human. The alien woman watched him with new intensity. You calculated their pride, she said softly. Most empires have the same weakness, Jace answered. They assume they're smarter. The enemy ships finally disengaged, retreating to safer distance. But they were not gone. They will return, she said. Yeah, Jace replied, breathing hard. I figured. Silence settled between them. Then she stood slowly, ignoring the pain. You should know who you have chosen to protect. He crossed his arms. All right. She stepped closer. Her voice lowered. I am not merely a soldier. Jace waited. Her black eyes held his. And in a whisper barely louder than breath, she said, You just saved the Queen. Jace did not respond for a full second. Not because he did not hear her, but because his brain refused to accept what his ears had just processed. A queen. Not a captain. Not a commander. A queen, on his rusted salvage ship that smelled like burnt wiring and instant coffee. He finally let out a slow breath. Okay, he said carefully. That's a lot. The woman, no, the queen, stood with perfect balance despite being injured, her armor tightening and relaxing like a living thing. She looked young, but there was something ancient in the way she held her head, as if she had practiced dignity in rooms where entire worlds had waited for her approval. My name is Celera, she said. That is my true name. Jace rubbed his face. I'm Jace. Still just Jace. Aura's voice came through the bridge speakers. Correction to earlier assessment. Probability of catastrophic involvement has increased from 74% to 98%. Jace shot the ceiling a look. Helpful. Celera glanced toward the sound. Your ship mind speaks with disrespect. It's programmed to keep me humble, Jace said. Or to annoy me to death. Hard to tell. Celera's gaze turned to the star map. The Dominion ships had backed off, but their signatures remained like wolves pacing outside a firelight. "They are waiting," she said. Jace nodded. "Yeah. They'll bring friends." "They will bring a hunter commander," Celera replied, voice flattening slightly. "One who specializes in retrieving living targets." "Let me guess," Jace said. "She doesn't accept no." Celera's eyes hardened. Jace's stomach tightened. He hated the calm certainty in her tone. "Why are they after you?" he asked. "Not the official speech. The real reason." Celera held his gaze for several seconds, weighing risk like a weapon. Then she spoke. "Because the Dominion does not believe my species deserves to exist." Jace blinked. "That's extreme." "To them, we are a mistake," she continued. "We were engineered long ago, by a civilization that no longer exists. Designed to be diplomats, guardians, and living processors. Beautiful enough to inspire loyalty. Intelligent enough to solve problems. Obedient enough to never question the hand that made us." Her fingers flexed, as if remembering chains. "But we did question," she said. "We learned. We grew. And we refused to remain property." Jace leaned back in his chair slowly. "So you rebelled?" Celera nodded once. "We freed ourselves. We built hidden cities in dead systems. We survived. But the Dominion found us again. They decided we would be erased, so no other empire would ever attempt such an escape." "And you're the queen of the survivors," Jace guessed. "Yes." Jace stared at the red dwarf on the view screen, feeling suddenly small. He had lived his whole life inside human wars, battles over trade routes, colonies, pride. This was different. This was genocide wearing a uniform. Aura interrupted softly. Incoming tight beam signal. Encrypted. Dominion origin. Celera's posture tightened. "They will speak." Jace tapped the console. "Put it through." A hologram snapped into existence above the bridge floor. A tall alien figure formed, angular, armored, face hidden behind a mask like black glass. His voice came out smooth and cold. "Human salvage vessel," he said. "You are in possession of Dominion property." Jace snorted. "Property? She's a person." The Dominion commander tilted his head slightly, as if studying a strange animal. "You will surrender the asset," he continued, "and you will be permitted to leave. Refuse, and you will be dismantled." Jace stepped forward, folding his arms. "Listen," he said, voice calm. "I don't know what your empire taught you, but humans don't return living beings like stolen cargo." The commander's mask reflected faint starlight. "Then you will be destroyed," he said simply. The transmission ended. Silence hung for a moment. Then Jace laughed once, short, humorless. "Yeah," he muttered. "That's about what I expected." Aura spoke. "Projected Dominion reinforcement arrival, 2 hours. Estimated ship count, 12 to 20. Jace whistled under his breath. "They're not playing." Celera's voice softened. "You can still abandon me. You have done enough." Jace looked at her. She truly meant it. She was offering him a way out. That made him angrier. Jace walked to the small cabinet by the bridge and pulled out a battered metal case. He popped it open. Inside were tools, not weapons, spanners, wire coils, microfusion clamps, and one ugly device that looked like a welded mistake. Celera watched with confusion. "You're preparing for war," she said. Jace lifted the ugly device. "No. I'm preparing for humans." He moved fast. He wasn't a soldier anymore, but his hands remembered pressure and deadlines. He rerouted power lines. He pulled old salvage tech from storage, half-working field emitters, mining lasers, broken drone brains. Celera followed him through the ship, silent. Jace spoke as he worked. "When humans were still stuck on one planet, we fought wars with rocks and sticks. We didn't win because we were stronger. We won because we got creative when we were desperate. Celera studied him. Desperation creates innovation. Exactly, Jace said. And right now, I'm desperate. Aura's drone pods floated out from a hatch, 3 small spheres with dents and patchwork plating. They are unreliable, Aura warned. Jace patted one. So am I. He dragged Celera to the engine room. We're going to make them think they've trapped us, he said. We're going to let them get close. Celera frowned. You intend to lure them? Yep. They will board. Yep. Celera's eyes narrowed. That is, extremely dangerous. Jace grinned. Now you're understanding. He flipped open a panel and revealed a nest of old circuitry. Aura, can you fake our reactor signature? Make it look like we're dying. Possible, Aura replied. Probability of successful deception, 41%. Good enough, Jace said. Celera watched him wire a salvaged Dominion power cell into the ship's hull plating. What is that? She asked. A surprise, Jace replied. He installed dozens, small, hidden, spaced around the rustwind like invisible teeth. Celera finally stepped closer. Humans do not fight like other species. No, Jace said quietly. Other species fight like they expect war to be clean. Humans fight like we expect the universe to cheat. He finished the last connection, wiped his hands, and looked at her. You said you were designed to be obedient, he said. You still following someone's rules? Celera's throat moved slightly as she swallowed. No. Good, Jace said. Because if you're the queen, then I'm going to need you to do something very UN royal. She looked at him. What? Trust a scrapyard human with your life, he said. And when the time comes, fight dirty. Celera's lips pressed together. Then she nodded once. I can do that. 2 hours later, Dominion ships arrived like a dark storm. They surrounded the wreck field in a wide arc, their weapons pointed at the tiny rustwind like hunters aiming at trapped prey. Jace slumped in his chair, putting on his best exhausted voice. He opened the channel. This is human vessel rustwind, he said. Reactor breach. Engines failing. We can't outrun you. A pause. Then the cold voice of the commander returned. Wise, he said. Prepare for boarding. Do not resist. Jace cut the channel and looked at Celera. Showtime, he whispered. The first Dominion boarding craft detached and sped toward them. The moment its hull latched onto the rustwind, Jace triggered his first trick. He vented the ship's secondary compartments, empty rooms he had filled with metallic dust and loose wiring. The sudden pressure shift blew the dust into the boarding tunnel like a storm. Dominion soldiers poured in, tall, armored, efficient. Then their optics glitched. Their sensors screamed. Their comms filled with static. Because the dust was not dust. It was shredded conductor filament, stolen from a mining rig. Human-made chaos in physical form. Aura's voice came calm. Enemy sensor disruption effective. Jace smiled. Now. Celera stepped forward. Her armor unfolded like a living blade. She moved, fast enough that Jace's eyes struggled to track her. Not graceful like a dancer. Graceful like a storm. She struck the first Dominion soldier with a palm to the chest that sent him flying backward, armor cracking. She spun, grabbed the next, and slammed him into the wall hard enough to leave a dent. Jace stared for half a second. Then he shook himself. Yeah, he muttered. Queen. Definitely. He hit the second trick. The hidden Dominion power cells embedded in the walls activated at once, creating a localized pulse that surged through the boarding craft. The craft's internal systems fried. Its hatch seals locked. Dominion soldiers were now trapped inside a human ship full of human traps. Celera turned to him, breathing steady. Your methods are brutal, she said. Jace grabbed a welding torch and stepped into the corridor. Welcome to humanity, he replied. But outside, the Dominion commander watched the telemetry. His mask remained still, but his voice came sharper. Deploy the hunter, he ordered. Deep inside the largest Dominion ship, something woke. Something that had never failed to retrieve a target. Something that was now turning its attention toward a single stubborn human and the queen he refused to surrender. And Jace Halden, scrap captain, former engineer, stubborn idiot, had no idea that the next boarding would not be soldiers. It would be a monster trained to break civilizations. And humans had a habit of breaking monsters first. The hunter did not arrive in a shuttle. It arrived alone. The Dominion warships shifted formation as something detached from the largest cruiser. It did not burn bright like engines. It did not broadcast signals. It simply moved, silent, controlled, deliberate. Aura's voice lowered a fraction. Object approaching. Mass equivalent to a small fighter craft. No visible weapons. Jace watched it on the screen. That's never a good sign. Celera stood beside him, armor fully deployed now, silver-white plates flowing across her body like liquid metal locking into place. Her voice was calm, but there was something deeper beneath it. He is called Varric. Jace glanced at her. Let me guess. Never lost. Never, she said. The object reached the rustwind and attached itself directly to the hull. No explosive breach. No warning. The metal simply parted. Like it was obeying him. Jace's stomach dropped. Aura. Hull integrity compromised. Structural material is being convinced to move. Convinced. Jace muttered. The corridor lights flickered. Then he stepped inside. Varric was taller than the other Dominion soldiers. His armor was matte black, edged with faint red lines that pulsed like a heartbeat. His helmet was smooth and narrow, no visible eyes, only a thin horizontal glow. He carried no visible weapon. He didn't need one. He looked at Jace first. Not at Celera. At Jace. You are the human, Varric said. His voice was soft. Not cold like the commander. Calm. Almost curious. Last I checked, Jace replied. Varric tilted his head slightly. You are not military. Nope. Not enhanced. Nope. Yet you resist. Jace shrugged lightly. Bad habit. Varric's attention shifted to Celera. You run far, Your Majesty, he said. Celera stepped forward. You hunt shadows, Varric. There was history there. Heavy. Personal. Varric moved. Jace barely saw it happen. 1 second he stood 10 feet away. The next, he was in front of Celera. She blocked the strike, but the impact cracked the floor beneath her feet. The rustwind groaned from the force. Jace stumbled back. Varric fought differently than the soldiers. He was precise. Efficient. No wasted motion. Each movement designed to end resistance quickly. Celera matched him, but Jace could see it. She was still recovering. Not at full strength. They clashed again. Armor against armor. The corridor walls buckled from shockwaves. Aura's voice cut in urgently. Structural stress exceeding tolerance. Yeah, I noticed. Jace shouted. Varric caught Celera's arm mid-strike and twisted. Her armor cracked. She hit the wall hard. Jace's heart slammed in his chest. Varric stepped toward her. This ends, he said. And that was when Jace did something incredibly human. He ran at a monster that could tear apart starships, and tackled him from the side with a welding torch. It did absolutely nothing. The torch sparked uselessly against Varric's armor. Varric turned slowly. You interfere again, he said. Yeah, Jace replied, breath shaking. Still not giving her back. Varric struck him. The blow sent Jace flying across the corridor into a bulkhead. Pain exploded through his ribs. He tasted blood. He couldn't breathe. Through blurred vision, he saw Varric lift Celera by the throat. This species is weak, Varric said. You attach to it. Why? Celera's voice strained but steady. Because they choose. Varric paused. Choose what? Each other. Jace forced himself up, one hand clutching his side. And then something clicked in his mind. He wasn't stronger. He wasn't faster. But he had one thing Varric did not expect. Improvisation. Aura, he gasped quietly through his implant link. Route full reactor surge to hull emitters. Now. That will overload the Dominion cells you embedded. Exactly. Warning lights flared red. Varric sensed the energy spike. He turned his helmet toward Jace. Too late. Jace slammed his fist down on the manual trigger he had installed himself. The hidden Dominion power cells lining the Rustwind's walls activated simultaneously, but instead of creating a pulse, they created a resonance feedback loop. Human tech forcing alien tech to argue with itself. The ship screamed. Energy surged unpredictably through the hull, chaotic, unstable, violent. Varric staggered. His armor flickered. For the first time, he took a step backward. "What have you done?" he demanded. Jace grinned through blood. "I stopped playing by your rules." The feedback loop overloaded Varric's adaptive systems. His armor tried to compensate, but humans had wired it wrong. Intentionally wrong. Celera dropped to the floor. Varric lunged at Jace. But Celera moved faster. With a scream that shook the corridor, she drove her palm into Varric's chest. Not a physical strike. Something else. Light exploded outward from her armor, white and blinding. Varric's black plating cracked. The corridor filled with shockwave energy. Then silence. When Jace's vision cleared, Varric was on his knees. His armor dead. His systems fried. He looked up slowly. At the human. "You are chaos," he said quietly. Jace wiped blood from his mouth. "Yeah," he replied. "We get that a lot." Outside, the Dominion fleet hesitated. Their unstoppable hunter was offline. Their boarding craft destroyed. Their sensors filled with erratic human-engineered interference. On the bridge of the Dominion flagship, the commander watched in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. On the Rustwind, Celera stood slowly. Her armor glowed brighter now, not damaged, but awakened. She looked different. Stronger. Jace stared. "What was that?" he asked. She met his eyes. "My people were not only designed to obey," she said. "We were designed to lead." Energy rippled around her. The remaining Dominion ships began receiving signals. But not from their commander. From her. Encrypted Royal Authority codes older than the Dominion itself. Dormant Solari fleets hidden in dead systems began to stir. Ships that had been waiting. Watching. Hoping. Celera turned to Jace. "You did not save only a queen," she said softly. "You saved a future." Jace looked out at the stars. Human ships were entering the system now too, drawn by the chaos, by the signals Aura had secretly transmitted during the fight. Not an official fleet. Not organized. Just humans. Salvagers. Traders. Freelancers. Veterans. Every one of them answering a simple call. Help. The Dominion commander saw the incoming swarm. Not warships. Not uniformed. Just unpredictable humans. He understood then. Empires fought with order. Humans fought with choice. And choice was impossible to control. He gave the retreat order. Dominion ships pulled away. The battlefield fell silent. Jace slumped into the captain's chair, exhausted. "So," he muttered, "does this mean I get royal benefits?" Celera almost smiled. "There is no crown without responsibility." "Yeah," he sighed. "Knew that was coming." She stepped closer. "For the first time in generations," she said, "my people have allies." Jace looked up at her. "Don't get sentimental," he warned. "We're still charging you docking fees." A faint laugh escaped her. Not royal. Not distant. Human. Out in the darkness, new alliances were forming. Not because of treaties. Not because of fear. But because one stubborn human refused to return a living being like stolen cargo. And somewhere in Dominion space, leaders began rewriting their calculations. Because humanity had just done what it always did best. turn impossible odds into a very bad day for anyone who underestimated them. And this time, the Queen chose humanity.